there, and welcome to a new episode of Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin. I'm your host, Kate Burns-Gallagher, and we are here once again in the beautiful atrium in downtown St. Thomas. Up first, we are joined by Desmond McNamee, who's the co-founder of the Hevy app. Welcome to the show, Desmond.
Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. So the Hevy app is taking people from their notebooks to an app when it comes to personal fitness. Tell us a little bit about the journey of the Hevy app.
Yeah, so Hevy's it's an app for weightlifters. So usually a weightlifter will record their workouts with a pen and paper, and that works well. But we thought it would be better in an app, and so yeah, Hevy's an app for weightlifters, so they can input their weights and their reps, and then once we have that data from them, we can show them cool analytics and give them like progress updates and stuff like that, and they can see which muscle groups they're maybe neglecting or over focusing on. And then on top of that, there's a social component, so they can connect with their friends on Hevy and compete or encourage each other. So that's what Hevy is.
That's incredible. You have over 5 million users internationally.
That's right.
How long did it take you to develop 5 million users on the app?
Yeah, so we've been at this for a while. We've been doing it for 5 years now. So we've seen like most of the growth fairly recently. It's been like a bit of an exponential curve. The first 2 years was like a real grind because we weren't doing any marketing. It was just word of mouth. Now we have 5 million users, and we're hopefully just beginning, because that sounds like a big number. And at the beginning, if you had said we would one day have 5 million users, we would have been like, well, that's a huge success case. But that's just a tiny fraction of the whole market. So we really want to be like a household name. If you lift weights, you know about Hevy. Anywhere in the world, that's the goal. And so that's way more than 5 million users.
Neat. And what inspired you to create Hevy?
Yeah, so me and my co-founder were going to the gym separately, and we liked it, and we felt like it was helping our health and these things. But it's kind of a lonely experience. You're in the gym alone, and you lift weights, and we use apps like Strava, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, but like other apps that connect people around their fitness goals. Strava in particular is for runners and bikers. And you can like see like, oh, you ran so fast in this segment and stuff like that. And it just adds so much more to it. And so we're like, let's build a social network, but for gym athletes. And that was the idea.
Neat. So it's similar to, you said about the runners and bikers, so how people share their stats on Facebook, how far they've run or whatever. This is for weightlifters, and they can share how much they've lifted.
That's right, yeah. And that's where we see a lot of our growth actually, is people are using Hevy and they're recording their data, and then we show them like their stats, like, oh, you just hit a new PR for the bench press, and then they share that on Instagram, and then their friends are like, oh, what app is that? And then it drives growth. And it keeps them encouraged and coming back to the app.
Right, so it's all that grassroots really marketing
That's
that
right.
happens.
Yeah, spreading the word, like the users themselves are spreading the word.
Right on. So how does the app help users stay accountable to their own fitness goals?
It's funny because we specifically target people who already have a fitness habit. Some apps, and we actually worked at a fitness company before that was targeted beginners, and it's just a different problem to try to convince somebody to develop a fitness habit through an app. And so we decided early on that we're looking to build something for people who are already going to the gym and already have made that big leap of changing their life to have a habit of going to the gym. But then once you're there, we find that the users who do engage socially in the app, interestingly enough, are more likely to stay and keep their habit long term. So there is a benefit for people who already have a habit as well, but I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And interestingly enough too, you started off as a remote company, and now you're starting to come back to office, but back to office happens to be here in St. Thomas. What made you choose St. Thomas?
Yeah, so, well, me and my wife just had our first baby.
Congratulations.
And she's from around here. I'm actually from Ottawa. And we were looking for a small town to start a family. And we found St. Thomas last Christmas. We came here to play around at disc golf, actually. And we were like, oh, what is this town? We've never heard of it. And then looked around, and I actually looked up if there was like a nice co-working place if we were to move here. And we found the Atrium. And so that was like another thing. And yeah, we've just fallen in love with the city.
That's great. So the Atrium was kind of the hub that started the whole journey in St. Thomas.
Yeah, well, it was a big check to be like, oh, there is a place for me to go work and maybe start a little office.
Oh, cool.
I had been remote for a few years, and remote's great, but you just miss that human interaction face to face. And so it was really cool. Like, let's start a little office here and hire some local talent. And that's what we've done. And now there's 3 of us working upstairs, and it's been really good.
That's incredible. That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So if people are looking to find the app, typical places to download the app, where can they go?
Yeah, so the iOS or Android App Store that's where it is. So
Fantastic. Great. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Desmond.
You too.
And
Thanks
wish you
so
the
much.
best of luck with
Thank
Hevy.
you very much.
We'll be right back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin.
Still doesn't register right in my head. I mean, the largest industrial investment in Canadian history is happening right here in St. Thomas, Ontario.
Railway City Live highlights original music performances by musicians in the St. Thomas area. Watch Railway City Live Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m.
Smudging is a very important part in our life as we're all learning to walk the good way. When we smudge, we use the sacred medicine, the white sage, the sweetgrass, the tobacco, and the cedar. It cleanses negative energy and replaces it by a positive energy. When I smudge, I cleanse my N and my eagle feather and start cleansing my breath to have better words. I will smudge my eyes so I could see the better things offered to me. I will smudge my ears to hear the good thing that people have to say. I will smudge my hair to have good thinking from my head. I will bring the smudge to my feet so I could walk in respect with our Mother, the Earth. Smudging is the way we give our prayers to connect our spirit to the Creator. We express gratitude for the gift of life, the learning, and growth.
And we're back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin. We're now joined by Danielle Campbell, founder and CEO of Campbell Building Group. Welcome to the show, Danielle.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So you've been in business for 11 years, and 3 of those have been here in St. Thomas. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to the community.
At the start of the pandemic, actually, my husband and I were looking for a change in community and a little bit of a different lifestyle for us and the kids. And we saw a property that came up for sale. It's the old Dowler Carn House on Wellington. And being the design enthusiast I am, we ended up buying it and fixing it up. And during that process, the community was so welcoming, and they were always, bringing us food and helping out around with our reno, and we felt really at home, and so our journey kind of started there, and then my parents actually came.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So they now live in St. Thomas as well, and through that process, I've moved the business, and now we're doing, design and construction for the community around here.
That's great. So your team handles both design construction phases of the projects, which is huge. How does that integrated approach set you apart from other people in the space?
We like to create boutique experiences. So we really try and tailor the design and even the execution to our client. So if it's something that they want to do in phases and renovate their home or even their commercial space, we put out a plan that allows them to do that. And we really do try and keep our timeline and budget.
Right. And timeline and budget are 2 key parts that are the hardest to stick to.
Yeah. We pride ourselves on being very organized. So So far, so good. We stick to it.
That's great. So as you continue to grow here in St. Thomas, the Campbell Building Group, what does that look like? What does 2025 look like for the organization?
We have a couple new team members joining, so I'm very excited about that. Our on-site crew is expanding, and we're working out of the atrium, which is very fun, and everyone loves it here. We're hoping to take on some more, restoration work, finding some of those older homes and helping clients bring the life back to them.
That's great. And so you started off restoring a home here in St. Thomas. That's what brought you here. What kind of projects do you look at for restoration or work on?
There's a lot of character homes around here, and clients often don't know where to start, and so we get approached to help them, keep the character, but also modernize the space to suit their growing families, or maybe even put an addition on the house and still keep the original structure. So we help out a lot with that, and commercially we do a lot of entertainment work. So gaming facilities, movie theaters. We work on those kinds of projects.
What a neat cross section, from gaming and movie theaters to restoring older homes or doing additions. That's really neat.
Yeah, we love it.
So if people are looking to get a hold of you, if they're thinking about a renovation project or looking at a big commercial project, how do they get a hold of you?
They can go on our website. We do have a contact us where they can fill out a little bit about themselves and what they're looking to do. Alternatively, we have an info at Campbell Building Group that they can email, and either myself or one of the team members will answer and get things going for them.
Great. Well, it was great to have you on the show, Danielle, and best of luck for 2025.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. We'll be right back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin.
I'm sure right now a lot of you feel like you aren't able to be who you truly are.
What's most important, more important than everybody else knowing who you are, is that you know who you are.
As a young person, time moves slower for you, and just know that things will get better.
It Gets Better Canada is a registered Canadian charity with a focus on uplifting our queer youth through the power of digital storytelling.
As a Two-Spirit person, I use they, them pronouns, but that's not the case for every Two-Spirit person.
There are so many voices out there that we didn't have 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
No matter what your mind tells you, you really are perfect the way you are, so stop beating yourself up so much.
I'm gonna be a boy in a dress, because why not?
Your identity is explosive.
We all have our unique journeys, but one thing that connects us all is the desire to be happy, the desire to celebrate being our authentic selves.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts, a racist practice that may stop this Indigenous mother from going home with her newborn. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin. We are now joined by Kenya Hilton, who is the owner of Klean N Go Inc. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, Kenya. So what inspired you to start Klean N Go here in St. Thomas?
So Klean N Go was actually inspired by my grandmother. When I was a child, I would help around with chores, and one thing I would do, I thought I was super sneaky. Every time she would take a nap, I would clean the house, and then I would hide the cleaning products. That way she would wake up and it would look magically sparkling. So I would let the room speak for itself. When I was a child, she always told me that I should make a business out of it. And then when I moved to St. Thomas, I really wanted a business. So I thought back to that moment and I made my 10-year-old dreams a reality. It feels really full circle.
That's amazing. Now, don't tell my kid, but where do I find a kid like you? That's incredible. That is so incredible. Well, I know where I can find you. I can find you with Klean N Go. So what's one of the most surprising or valuable lessons you've learned while running this first year of your business?
So for the first year, one thing would be to step out of my comfort zone. Naturally, I'm an introvert, so I prefer to stay home. But I realized staying home is not telling anyone about my business. So I really had to get out there, introduce myself to other business owners, and I could honestly say that I have no regrets. I've met a lot of great people, a lot of other business owners, made great relationships, great clients, as well as I find one thing that really helps is St. Thomas is really supportive of local businesses and young entrepreneurs, so that made it a bit easier.
Great, great. And you're I'm guessing, are you part of the Youth Chamber Initiative?
Yes.
Wonderful. It's such a great connection, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
So for Klean N Go, what are some services and products that you offer?
So it's strictly commercial cleaning. So we deal with any spaces, any spaces like banks, firms, offices, medical clinics, as well as we deal with some property management companies as well with student housing and tenancy turnover and move in and move out.
Great. And how have you found things are picking up over this first year?
It has honestly been better than I expected, and I think what helps is me going out and getting to meet new people. And yeah, I find even being close to Fanshawe and Western has definitely helped a lot as well.
Great. And so although you're based in St. Thomas, what's your catchment area?
Yeah, so we service St. Thomas as well as the greater London area. And sometimes if we have projects in like Woodstock, Ingersoll, we'll also drive out there.
Great, great. And as we're heading into 2025, what are some goals that you have for the business moving forward?
So one goal that I have is to be more involved with the community. So I actually have some things brewing for 2025. So keep a lookout. You'll see us at some events and stuff.
Great, great. And when it comes to the commercial side of cleaning, what makes that different than residential cleaning?
So with commercial cleaning, there is a greater scope of work, and there's more that goes into our quotes. So we base it off of square footage as well as any special requirements that building has. So for instance, medical, what's needed there is not going to be the same as a bank. So we make sure we do our facility walkthroughs and speak with the coordinators to make sure that everything is to their liking. And another step that we take, even on the residential side, is we ensure that all our staff during our onboarding process go through a background check.
Oh, great. And so you have a staff team, so if you have somebody fall ill or anything, you're always able to get the job done. Great. And how far ahead are you booking? What does that look like if somebody's looking for cleaning services?
So we're really flexible. So for commercial cleaning, we're always open to inquiries, as well as for residential, always open as well and very flexible, because we do have a pretty large team and they have flexible availability, so that helps as well.
Great, great. And any special advice you have for going into the new year? Lots of people are having resolutions, right? Of keeping fresh, keeping things clean. What are some insider cleaning tips you might share?
I would say one place that is very overlooked, I would say, in the home is behind kitchen appliances and vents in the bathroom. So everyone needs to look at their ceilings in the bathroom.
Oh, right, in the vents and behind the appliances.
And behind the fridge, the oven, those tend to get overlooked often.
Right, a good thing to start the new year off with pulling those out and getting them cleaned. Now, if people are looking for either that commercial or residential cleaning support, how do they get a hold of Klean N Go?
So they can call us or they can visit our website.
Great, and how do they find you?
They could find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Great. Well, it's lovely to meet you, Kenya, and wish you best of luck for 2025.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. We'll be right back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin.
They've reached the summit! Back-to-back Stanley Cup victories.
Greatness.
And a new legacy begins. Absolutely amazing. It has happened in Vegas.
Is not a destination.
And lightning has struck twice.
It is a continuous journey that never ends.
These are the moments you dream of. Stanley Cup champions.
long way from Nashville, and mama, I'll tell you that. Performed from Montreal to Boston to Los Angeles. But Toronto, that's my chosen home. Sure, when I'm walking down Yonge Street, I see some funny people who have the nerve to point the finger at me. And grin and smile and whisper. My song was #2 on local radio. Sold 10,000 in Toronto alone. Turned down Ed Sullivan because they asked me to remove my makeup. Wouldn't do American Bandstand because of their segregation policies. I was just being me. Never tried to explain myself to anyone. And besides, none of that to worry, Jackie, because I know I look good. Got a new way of loving, baby. Thought I want to teach it to you.
Jackie Shane was a pioneer transgender soul singer, a central figure in the Toronto R&B scene. She helped shape what we know as the Toronto sound.
And we're back on Next Week Today in St. Thomas-Elgin. We are now joined by Tony Blundell, the amazing host of the Full Monty, and I don't know who's going to lead this interview, but we'll see. We're going to go with it. So Tony, tell us a little bit about the Full Monty and what inspired you to start that podcast.
All right, well, it all started with I kind of wanted to do something that would break down barriers of people that we know in the city. Yeah. So from the mayor and members of council to emergency services, but fire department. And who are these people? Mm-hmm. You know, we always see them in the news and we see them on TV and we see that professional side. Well, I want to drop that and then get into who are they? And that was kind of the birth of the Full Monty. So that's why it's called the Full Monty, the naked truth. So it's to drop the wall and we're going to meet the person.
Great. So I like that. Meet the person behind the
That's right.
front.
And that's kind of what it is meet the person behind the person. And then we've got some other shows where we did some informative stuff. So I had the St. Thomas Police and OPP in, and we talked about protecting your loved ones, seniors, scams, everything that goes on that way. So we wanted to bring on information and things like if your loved one is scammed, can they get money back? You know, what's the process? Is it gone? You know, I can only imagine an 85-year-old grandma just lost, $70,000, $80,000. That's got to be just life altering. Right. You know, that can be pretty serious. So I wanted to help in other ways too, that we could do something that's fun. Mm-hmm. Like I always put on these crazy, wacky shirts and different things. And of course, Mini Me always comes, right?
Tell us about Mini You.
Yeah, Mini Me was made from the extinguishers of Cindy, the campaign that I got going across Canada. So after I was nominated for the Circle of Excellence Awards last year, the Impact Awards, so Mini Me was made, and after that, he joins us now on every podcast. So when I have a guest, I sit down and I talk with Mini Me, and he tells me a little bit about your background, and then I run with that. So
perfect.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good because he always nods yes. So.
We like yes.
Yes.
We've discovered that in St. Thomas we just like yes. We lead with it, right? Now, not everybody might not know about your background with the fire extinguisher campaign that you did. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so that started October 2nd. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the year. I think it was 4 years ago now. Cindy Devine was killed out on Highbury Ave on her way to work. Cindy was a longtime friend of mine. I knew for quite a few years, before that. She was hit by an impaired driver. Car went in the ditch. She survived the initial crash. She was talking to the people. They were trying to get her out, but unfortunately the car caught fire. And you can't really get too graphic about it, but she burned alive. And all the people that were witness to that. So from all my years with funny enough, Rogers TV, over the time, radio, my own production company. So I said, well, what can I do to try and make a difference? So I started this campaign so I could campaign and an awareness campaign to get extinguishers into vehicles. Like we have them in school buses, boats, cars, all that stuff. Why do we not have them in our cars? Now the extinguisher in your car is not actually for you. That is if you come across a scene, and even if you don't know how to use it, I'm sure somebody there is gonna, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of how that was made. So, so the Full Monty part came about. So It's kind of a little bit of this in there. I have a new plaque that was made. I spent the summer going around all those emergency services in Elgin, so I have all their patches. So that's kind of on there just to promote our everything Elgin and St. Thomas. So yeah,
that's great.
It's fun.
Well, and there's so many great stories to tell about St. Thomas and Elgin and the people in it.
Couldn't do it.
And you're doing a phenomenal job. Who are a few of the people that you've been highlighting lately?
Right now I'm working on Jeff Urich. Awesome. So I had a two-part. It went about an hour and 20 minutes. And I've had a lot of technical issues with the camera, so it's taken me quite a while of editing. It can be a nightmare. Nothing worse than you go out and you do a taping, and then you find out half your footage is no good. You know, it's just it's out of your hands. There's nothing you can do about it. I've had to call people back, you know, to do a retape. So the mayor was a lot of fun. Mike Vecchio, I had Mike in, he was a blast. One of the big ones for me was Jamie Warren came in. He's Canada's #1, the most awarded independent country artist. So Jamie came in and did a few songs and brought in some of the awards that he won from the CCMAs. And Jamie and I have been friends for a long time. But yeah, so the next one's coming up. So what I want is Steve Bond from Urich's Pharmacy. We're going to be coming in and talking everything about diabetes and medications and insulins and this Ozempic and all kinds of. And I'm a diabetic. I've been open about it. I'm 6 needles a day. Struggle hugely with sugars. So I think people are going to really benefit by breaking some of this down. And I'll talk about my experiences and the highs and lows and you know what happens. And with Jeff, we touched a little bit about all that, but the best thing with Jeff Urich was I put the question to him and I asked him flat out, why did he leave the government? I knew there's going to be an issue with this, right? So he told me. So you're going to have to watch
have to tune in.
Episode 2 is being edited right now, but Jeff broke it down exactly what the reason was.
So we'll have to get the dirt. Now, how can people find out and where can they access the podcast?
Okay, so the podcast is on Facebook, The Full Monty. It's on YouTube, so you can type in either The Full Monty Video Podcast or Full Monty St. Thomas. My name, Tony Bendel. It's just on my own channel under podcast. And the other one now is it's on Rogers TV. The episode's been on there now for, I don't know how long it's been. I've got pretty much a year into it already, so
that's wonderful.
The first year's done, but yeah,
great.
So lots coming up.
Look forward to it.
It's going to be fun, yeah. So maybe one day we'll switch this, and
we might have
you're going to come on. Yeah, we'll talk about your love for Elgin and the different things, eh?
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
That'd be great.
From all my years back, from years ago at Rogers and our studio, and Sarah Francis and Sean Abram, and oh man, we had so much fun over the years.
Right.
And so we need to keep it going.
We do.
This is fun.
Tell our story.
Yeah,
for sure.
Excellent.
Well, thanks, Tony. Really appreciate you being on the show.
Oh, thanks, Kate. It was fun.
It was.
Thanks for coming in.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a great way to wrap up our show today. Next week today in St. Thomas-Elgin. I'm your host, Kate Burns-Gallagher, and we'll see you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
This guy's dangerous from here, here, and here.
We're watching history in the making here.
Are you watching this?
And our fans are up here.
I'm here for it. It's all about what's up here and what's in here.
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running.